Igbo apex group, Ohanaeze and Igbo, on Sunday demanded an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be paid to the Igbos following the revelation by former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup as alleged. The revelation was contained in IBB's memoir, A Journey in Service. The group noted that the coup unleashed disastrous repercussions on the Igbo people, among other factors, which ultimately led to the horrors of the Biafra War.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining me in this video. I have the statement that Ohanaeze and Igbo, that they are demanding apologies from the federal government of Nigeria, and also they are demanding for 10 trillion naira because of the revelation of Babangida's book that the coup that happened is not an Igbo coup, and because of that, that is the reason why they are demanding apologies and 10 trillion. To start with, I want to categorically state that Babangida is supposed to be in jail, and it's not over for the man to be in jail, okay? It's not over for the man to be in jail, and the man is supposed to be in jail. That is the first thing. Secondly, you see the issue of the criminal justice system in Nigeria and why Nigeria can never progress, or how Nigeria can never even come to become a great nation or anything close to nation. Then the Farotimi wrote a book about the criminal justice system in Nigeria. He landed him in jail. But here is a criminal writing on how he annulled a legal election, only election that was conducted free and fair since the inception of this contraption called Nigeria. He annulled it. He killed a lot of people. He gave oil well illegally to people, bank licenses illegally to people. He did all sorts of things, and people are hailing him today. You see the kind of generation we see ourselves. Anyway, now, I have a problem with Ohanaeze and Igbo. Right from time, Ohanaeze and Igbo doesn't represent Igbos well. How could you say you are demanding 10 trillion? What is money? What is money? Before the coup, before the war, there was a hatred that led to the pogrom that happened. Igbos were killed everywhere in Nigeria. Thank God that IBB still wrote it in his book, despite the whole controversy surrounding his book. Now, after the hatred against the Igbos, the killing against the Igbos, Igbos were not safe in Nigeria at all. And not only Igbos, even people from the south, like Yorubas, were still being maltreated somehow. So that led to why we strike. Okay, I read the account of the Civil War, so I don't even need IBB's book to know that the coup was not Igbo coup. That is just the first issue there. Now, come to think about the Ohanaeze statement that they need 10 trillion. It's not what Igbos want, okay? That is not what they need. The average Igbo man wants a separate nation, a separate region, where they can have or take control of their resources, their, what is it called? Their security and everything. And average Igbo man needs Biafra. You might not like the way it sounds, you might not like it, but that has been from the beginning, and you can't stop it. The political, vagabonds we have today can't stop it. What you think or you know can't stop it. The Biafra idea is like a religion. You see, when you said you want to wipe away Christians from the surface of the earth, or you want to wipe away Muslims from the surface of the earth, is something that is impossible. You can't do that. So that is the way Biafra is. Biafra is like a religion. Even people come in, people are not up to 16 years, talk to them, they know where they stand. Because the next generation is not going to be funny, okay? It's not going to be funny. Not at this time where even the reason to get angry is still coming out. I thought Ohanaeze will just organize a protest and start protesting because of the revelation of IBB's book. For over the years, they have used the coup. Even people knows, Obasanjo, all these people, they know that it was not an Igbo coup. Because these people, they just want to hang Igbos. They said it's an Igbo coup. Because of this, Igbo man will not rule the nation. Whenever Igbo man wants to get to the power, do this. Make sure Igbo man don't get to the power. And the hatred is still on till today. And that is why this country can never be won. People don't like the way we talk, but you can't stop it because no matter how the lies last, the truth will always come to the limelight. And you can see that, and there was a counter coup after the first coup that led to the massacres of Igbos. Tell me, the person that led the first coup, they call him Kaduna and Zogun, that he is an Igbo man. He is not an Igbo man. Apart from that, his parents are from Okpanam today in Delta State. The man was born and brought up in Kaduna, and his name is even Kaduna Ezogun. And he speaks Hausa language fluently. He don't speak Igbo language very well. So what made him Igbo? These are the things that people don't know. That is just the reason why history is very important. So the issue of this Ohanaeze demanding 10 trillion is insane. It's not acceptable. The Igbos don't need money. What they need is Biafra.
The Igbo Apex Group, Ohanaeze and Igbo, on Sunday demanded an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be paid to the Igbos following the revelation by former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup as alleged. The revelation was contained in IBB's memoir, A Journey in Service. The group noted that the coup unleashed disastrous repercussions on the Igbo people, among other factors, which ultimately led to the horrors of the Biafra War. Let me take their statement in part. The group wrote, "The Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization, Ohanaeze and Igbo, extends its profound appreciation to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida for his remarkable courage in officially declaring that the January 1966 coup was unequivocally not an Igbo coup. This pivotal acknowledgement is not merely a correction of historical nomenclature, but a significant moment in our collective pursuit of justice and reconciliation, signaling a potential end to the historical vindictiveness and cruelty that have been pervasive in federal government policies towards the Igbo nation. His forthright exemption of the Igbo from the egregious classification as enemies of the northern region in the aftermath of the coup is both timely and necessary, even if it arrives decades later. The mislabeling of the 1966 coup has unleashed disastrous repercussions upon the Igbo people, most tragically culminating in the January 1966 counter-coup, which decimated a military head of state of Igbo descent. The staggering loss of life, with approximately 3 million Igbos, predominantly innocent women and children, slaughtered during this conflict, continues to reverberate through our collective consciousness. In light of these egregious injustices and the deliberate neglect exhibited by successive administrations, Ohanaeze and Igbo hereby restates its demands as articulated previously during the Justice Oputa-led Judicial Commission for the Investigation of Human Rights Violation panel in 1999. The present federal government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, must recognize this moment as an opportunity to extend a public and unequivocal apology on behalf of previous military regimes. Our demand for 10 trillion naira in reparations remains steadfast. This figure is not arbitrary, but a symbolic recognition of the indelible losses the Igbo people have endured. The time has come for true acknowledgement of these historical wrongs, which can only be rectified through reparations and sincere apologies. I mean, this was a detailed statement, and there's been a lot of reactions since that excerpt of IBB's memoir came out, where he debunked or dismissed the fact that the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup. A quick comment before I take some reactions.
Oji, IBB did not need to write in his book that it was not an Igbo coup before I had known that it was not an Igbo coup. Mm-hmm. For references, I have read, if not my last count, over 10 to 15 books on the war and what happened around that time. One of the most updated one that was not really biased was Centaure's account of the Nigerian Civil War. I've read Philip Evio's account, The Cage Bird Sings. I've read, Frederick Foster. I've read many accounts. It was not an Igbo coup. There was no Igbo coup. The narrative of an Igbo coup was to be able to hang, a particular ethnic group in all of that. These were a bunch of idealists that said, oh, the way forward to obliterate this political class, this thieving political, and their problems then was the same thieving political class.
The coup plotters.
Yes. That they became very idealistic. And where did that mindset come from? It came from the elections and the fight that ensued after the second elections, after the 59, I think the 64 elections, where they saw what the political class was doing, where they saw what was happening in the South and other regions of the country. So this bunch of idealists felt that they could save the country, which was a big mistake. Ademoye that wrote the book, Why We Struck, was not an Igbo man. Kaduna Nzego was from Okpanam. Kaduna Nzego was so Hausa. They have Igbo doctrine, was born in the north. His name was Kaduna because he was born in Kaduna. So all of this was part of the sentiment that they used for this war then. And there are many copious accounts. It was just a bunch of idealists. They felt the way to go was the way to clean up the system, but it was wrong. There was no ethnic. The same narrative of ethnic coloration stemmed from what the political class started infusing, so that there was going to be a fight back, coupled with the media. And that's why foreign medias also played a role in this. And they whipped up that sentiment, and it started to snowball into the anarchy.
Right.
In moving forward, we need to heal. We need to know that we are all on this table of this hurt and pain, and we should try as much as possible to fix it. And we must be able to do justice. The greatest form of reparation for me is justice.
Yeah.
And we must stop the marginalization against the Igbos. Infrastructure must be built in that land.
All right.
We must allow infrastructure go round. Yes, we have development commission across all regions now. There are statutory transfers to the budget.
Yeah.
We must be able to pump money there. Also, we must bring about federal infrastructural present development. Then we must also stop this talk. An Igbo man cannot be president. Who said so? Who said so? Because you see, these people forget a lot. After the Civil War, one of the paths to reconciliation was a deliberate attempt by the two key political parties to have Philip Omiedi as the running mate of Awolowo and what's his name now? The number one,
Alex
Ekweme, the first man to get a PhD in architecture in Nigeria.
All right.
So we need to be able to bring ourselves to this table of recompense and bring the conversation clear on the table that we must fight for a path to peace and stop this Igbophobia and hate against Igbos and all of that. All of us must be one to make this unity work.
All right, so you're up for that, compensation, the 10 trillion. I mean, there's been conversation about, how that amount of money, there should be some sort of wider consultation as to how Ohanaeze arrived at that amount of money. But
for me, due compensation.
You believe in due compensation.
A lot of federal infrastructure
in the
east and other parts that have been disgruntled in the country, sustainable ones. That's what I don't know about 10 trillion, but I'm all about justice.
So let me take a comment that followed that story. This is from Justin Collins, who wrote, Ohanaeze and Igbo's demand for an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Tinubu following IBB's clarification about the 1966 coup underscores the Igbos' deserving recognition of their historical grievances. This call for reparation reflects the ongoing need for acknowledgement of past injustices in the nation. The 1966 coup was never an Igbo coup. It was a narrative instigated by the Hausa, Fulani, and other tribes to deny the Igbos their rightful place in Nigeria's leadership. This misrepresentation has fueled decades of injustice against the Igbo people. And, that sums up the sort of conversation we're hearing from the sides of, whether or not we're going to pay reparation. Well, amidst all the revelations made in IBB's book, a historic video of the late Chief MKO Abiola's appeal to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida in June 1993, shortly after the annulment of the June 12 presidential election, has resurfaced online. In his address, Abiola urged Babangida to reverse the annulment and return the will of the Nigerian people, emphasizing the need for democracy and justice. Let's take a look.
I must appeal to Babangida. If he really, truly loves Nigeria, he should set Nigeria free. If he becomes a civilian, as the army seems to be telling him to do now, it will make things a lot easier, because it will be one civilian against the other. A man with a loaded gun, it takes a lot of courage to confront him the way God has had to make me do in the last few days, in the last few weeks. But if he did not want a transition, why order an election?
All right, reactions galore. Well, Sadiq Abacha, son of the late military head of state, Sani Abacha, has defended his father following allegations that forces led by his father, who was then Chief of Defense Staff, orchestrated the annulment of June 12, when in a post on Facebook on Saturday, Sadiq praised his father's legacy and expressed confidence that history will ultimately judge him favorably. His post reads, "The man Abacha, you have always been the man they have envied with silent deceit. History shall remember you for being a better leader, no matter how much they try to put you down. As a son, I'm most proud of you today. You indeed are the man they wish they were half of." Well, Sadiq concluded his statement with, a Hausa phrase, which means whoever utters insult at a public market knows who they are intended for. I mean, this was a trending post. Ayo, you're shaking your head. It was a trending post on it. We also saw Gusu Abacha's tweet where she wrote "weakling" on X, a direct dig at IBB. Ayo, quickly.
All right. I think it's only in a place like Nigeria that would give guts to these children to come out and speak like this. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, even though traditionally you don't want to speak bad about your father is the best thing despite what he's done, I would still say that common sense should prevail. And maybe it speaks to the level of education or how enlightened or perhaps the part of truth about their father that they know about. Let's not even begin to speak. They say it's not good to speak ill of the dead.
Yes.
But it's also important to speak the fact and not rewrite history.
Yes.
Maybe the history he's saying will be kind to his father. Maybe after the passage of time, we'll now see a number of Nigerians gather around and give, eulogize his dad and say, let's not remember that his father was responsible for the death of a number of key Nigerians.
Yes.
And that a lot of people do not have their parents alive because of the actions of his father. Let us not glamorize Abacha. Beyond that, they call him the gift that keeps giving. He stole from Nigeria so much that how many years after his death we are still benefiting from the loots that he stole and still finding out more.
Absolutely.
Please, the Abacha family should just keep quiet and enjoy whatever it is they're enjoying and leave Nigerians to just think of the years or try to forget the evil years of the Abacha days. That's what I would say.
Well said, Ayo. There was a breakdown, 30 cents made I was trending over the weekend. I mean, I wish we had that to pull up. And they broke down how much money that, Abacha had looted over the years. 30 cents did the Lord's work. And then, still counting. We're still... and what have we done with those monies in any ways? But let me... But Professor Anthony Killer, this memoir has, generated reactions. But you know what? In 2019... President Muhammadu Buhari stated that he would not write a book expressing concerns, that doing so might lead him to criticize certain individuals, which he wished to avoid to prevent causing harm to their families. Let's take a look.
Some people said I should write a book. I don't think I will ever write a book. Mainly, I don't want to hurt anybody. Hurting in the sense that there are certain people that I cannot resist abusing. But that hasn't got anything to do with their children and their grandchildren. So I don't want to hurt their children and grandchildren. So for the sake of their children and grandchildren, I have left them.
I mean, history, we need that. I don't know why Buhari is saying he won't write a book Ogasa, we need a book from you. Go ahead.
You need a book from
Yes. I mean, I don't know about this story. I think you know.
Depends on the kind of
Worry.
Go ahead. What did this prof said? What?
Bro, when you say you need a book of bros, that way.
Yes. He wants to tell me. Go ahead.
Well, I think Buhari can be accused of many things.
Yes.
He can be imagined as many things, but not an intellectual. Not as a writer.
They are
He's a
ghost
man,
writers,
mega
Professor
secure.
Killer.
You need even to tell a story for they can ghost write your thing. I mean, it deserves, it requires some kind of mental and deep commitment to do certain things. Of course.
And this were those that supported Buhari in 2015.
Oh, you did?
Yes, sir. These were people that carried Buhari for 2015.
Okay, go ahead.
So they are talking for the sources.
Killed it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, please.
So I think let's leave Buhari to do whatever he wants to do. If he writes a book, he does us a favor. If he doesn't write
Does
one,
us a huge
he
favor.
does a bigger one by not writing it. So let's leave him to whatever he wants to do.
What did I say about Professor Killer? Always killing it. Well, I wish we had more time on this segment.